Hello, hello, everyone. You have David Abrams here along with Nathan Chan, the founder of Foundr. Now, this is a really exciting call, and Nathan's actually going to be joining us from Australia. The connection in Australia is to be desired, as you could say. We did a call earlier this year with Luke McGuire, and so we've decided to do no webcams today. You guys will just be hearing our voice and seeing a screenshot here, but we're going to be going through a really exciting story, a really exciting journey. Nathan is like I said, the founder and CEO of Foundr, an online magazine, and his journey really started with him, at the very beginning where a lot of us started. His story really talks about him, having cash really just to get through probably the first month. And now they have over 1 million subscribers on Instagram, a thriving digital magazine, and a really, really exciting brand. I follow them on Instagram. I follow them on Facebook. I've bought their books. I absolutely love what they're doing. And I just feel honored to have Nathan on live with us today. So Nathan, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Dave. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, man.
It's our honor. We're really excited to kind of dig into this. And, I kind of like to just dive right in and, maybe just take us back to the beginning. How'd you even get to day one of Foundr? Where were you? Kind of what was your journey like?
Yeah, sure thing, man. So I started Foundr March 2013. So we've been doing it for a while now. And long story short, I honestly was trying to find work that I was passionate about. That's how I really, really got started. Where I was working in IT support at a travel company, and I really just didn't want to work in IT. I really disliked the work. And long story short, I was looking at doing all sorts of things online. I played around, with a little bit of affiliate marketing and stuff like that, but wasn't really that excited by it. But I just kind of fell into producing this digital magazine. I wish I could say that, I had this, calling and one day I just had this wonderful idea. It was literally just like, okay, there was an opportunity to present, to publish a digital magazine in the App Store. Because what happened was I did this thing called the 30-day challenge by this guy called Ed Dale, where it teaches you how to make your first dollar online. And that was like a course that pretty much taught you how to build an online business, but to do affiliate marketing essentially. And from that course, I learned bits and pieces, but it wasn't really that exciting. And then, the person that created that course, he created this software that taught you how to start your own online magazine. Not only just to actually, teach you how to build the magazine. More than anything, he was selling the software. So it was kind of like a SaaS-based product. And yeah, I thought it was just a killer idea. And I didn't even know, like, I'm going to build this digital magazine in the entrepreneurship space. Actually, at first, I was going to do it in horse racing. So that's really how kind of out of it I was, man. Didn't even realize I wanted to build a startup or anything of the sort, man. It was just honestly, I think building a digital magazine would be a sweet gig, and kind of, yeah, just I was going to do it with a friend and doing horse racing, and that didn't turn out. And I thought to myself, okay, well, what other niches am I passionate about? And I identified that there wasn't really a magazine in the space that I could relate to as an aspiring startup founder. And yeah, man, just kind of launched the magazine. So I launched it March 2013 while I was working my day job, just as a side hobby kind of passion project. Didn't treat it like some huge startup. Didn't treat it like I had to raise capital. Didn't even know anything about raising capital. Didn't even know what the word bootstrapping means. And with, under, about $2,000, around $2,000 US on my credit card, I started it. I paid for the software and, just kind of worked out what like my first magazine issue would look like. I literally had no idea what I was doing at the time. No real aspirations apart from just looking for work that I was passionate about. And on in a roundabout way. The first day we launched, we made $5, and first month we made $80, and I really started to fall in love with the process, man. And yeah, the rest is kind of history, bro.
That's absolutely fantastic, and it brings up so many questions for me. And I just want to say, I was actually just at a mastermind about 3 weeks ago, and Ed Dale was in the room, and I actually almost bought that exact same course that you bought. I remember when it came out, and Ed's such a smart guy, and it was just an honor to be in a room with him. That's fantastic, and so you're looking for your passion. Why do you think we all struggle so much trying to find that passion thing? Is it and I've done the same thing. It's like, where am I passionate? And I struggle to find it. Why do you think you're kind of jumping all over the place looking for that?
Hmm. Um. Well, to be honest, man, never really achieved much in life before I started Founder Bro.
Mhm.
Um. Was a pretty average student academically. So in high school, I never really got good grades. Just kind of scraped by. Got just enough kind of grades to go try and like get into a university degree, and even that, I was kind of scraping by that. I got into the best degree I could, but didn't really have the options that really didn't have much option of choice. And then I chose IT and business because that was kind of what I was good at. And then once you finish your degree, you kind of have your pathway set, man. I didn't even really get good grades at university. I remember I tried to switch into marketing. I thought I wanted to do some stuff around marketing, and because I did a few electives, but couldn't even switch and get in because I didn't have good enough grades. So when I went to go get a job, I got offered a job, and the career counselor said, "Yeah, look, it's really difficult to get a job. I think you should just settle with this one." And then what happened was pretty much from there, I had this job, and I was working at this accounting firm, and that was supposed to be my passion, man. You just kind of you slot into these things if you let life just kind of go by. And I think it's actually really, really easy for that to happen where you're not actually making a conscious choice of what you're doing. It's actually easy to forget to like do what you want to be doing, and you can get so caught up, and yeah, that's just what happened to me, man. It was only after I did this big trip around Europe that I realized that life is way too short, that I need to do more, and I want to find work that I'm passionate about, especially if I'm going to spend most of my life doing whatever it is I'm going to do.
God, I feel like when I do these interviews, so many of the journeys have, so many relatability moments to my own journey in my own life. I had the same exact kind of moment where, I was searching and like just stuck, couldn't find anything that I liked and wanted to do. And my life went traveling. And I was like, I have to get out of this like mediocrity. And I think like travel opens up our minds so much for some reason. So a small piece of advice is for anyone that feels stuck, do some traveling and see the world, and it will really open your perspective and your mind to what's possible in your life and what you really want to achieve. I think that's fantastic. But I want to circle back to something you said. You got started with this magazine, you made $5 your first day, you didn't really know what you were doing. Obviously, you're coming from this background without design stuff. Looking at what you guys produce now at Foundr, and it's just so beautiful. Your design is fantastic. Obviously, this is years of learning and figuring out what works. How did you get started without the design background? Like, what were you looking at, and were you just saying, "Hey, I'm going to do anything it takes to get it to work," or like, what was your mindset at this point? Because you've never done a magazine, did you have a design background, or how did you even get started there?
Yeah, so it's funny, it's interesting looking back. It is funny just thinking and looking back at of how far we've taken the brand, and the exciting things we've got in store, man. Because it all started with this magazine, but we've become much more than a magazine. Um, first of all, thanks for purchasing the book, bro. Like that's the best body of work we've ever produced. I had no idea that you backed the campaign, so thank you for doing that, man. Um, but yeah, no, we really starting to get into education and stuff now, and we're trying to do an interesting spin on that. But long story short, um, what happened was, bro, I've always been a big fan of design. Now, um, I never really knew I had an eye for it, but I knew this. I knew that, I was building this magazine, and it was a digital magazine, and it was in the App Store. in the Google Play Store. And I looked at the app landscape. That's the landscape that I used to look at. I don't really look at the app landscape anymore, but because the magazine is only one small piece of the puzzle for us. But when I was looking at the app landscape, a common trend that I saw was any good apps, any popular apps had great design. They had great UX and great design. I couldn't do anything about the UX because I was using off-the-shelf publishing software, but I knew I could do something about the design. So that was where I would place my focus. And I ended up finding this amazing designer on Elance, and he specialized in magazine design for publications. And he was really, really good, dude. So good. And it just so happened that he was based in India, and the exchange rates were desirable if you're based in, Australia, US, UK, Canada. And long story short, I just gave him that creative control. And I remember at the time, his fees were kind of expensive for me, which is
Hmm.
absolutely ridiculous thinking and looking back, where I was paying $400 a magazine issue US. I laugh saying it now, but and I remember he actually had to convince me and say, "Look, brother, if we invest in design, I promise you that it will pay dividends and rewards in like massive ways in the long term." And that was a lesson that he taught me, bro. Like, and ever
Yeah.
since doing that, like, it's been so true, because I've worked out and just as a byproduct of everything we've created, found that everything going forward since we've done the magazine, we've always placed such a big emphasis on design, and we've got a very unique brand and styling, and design actually can be used as a form of USP now. Like, it's a unique selling proposition for us that helps us stand out, helps us get that cut through. So like when we did that book, dude, like that will be like a big front end offer now, to get people into our ecosystem and into our platform. But I never like, and that was kind of that strategy. It was kind of like a celebration of the book, but that design. I think a physical product, it changed the relationship that people have with the brand. It really showcases our best work in a really nice way. And yeah, so that's how I worked it out, man. Just from luck, just kind of winging it once again. I wish I could tell you it was all strategy at the start, bro. It really was. Majority of it is now,
Yeah.
but definitely back then, man. Nah, no strategy there. Just kind of fell into it, man, and was lucky to find a good person to work with, and I've been working with him ever since, Karan, and he still does a lot of our branding and ID, and I've even went to his wedding in India. Yeah, really, really cool person.
That is really cool that you went out to meet him. I think that's something. I think, and I was just following up with Carrie here. So, guys, there's just going to be a graphic today, no webcams. But I think investing in understanding, kind of changing your mindset early on in business to invest in people is such a huge thing, and it's something that a lot of people miss. And obviously, your brand is fantastic, your design is fantastic. So it goes a long way to say that you invested early on. I think that's the hardest time to invest early on, is when you don't have that much money. But clearly, you guys have done some amazing stuff. So I want to kind of switch from you getting started in Foundr to some of the strategies and like the key things that you saw that started working. I mean, this is gold as far as how you got started, but where did the momentum kick in? Because obviously, you said you made $5 on your first magazine. What momentum did you see? Where did you find some of the initial strategies for growth and then to get past that?
Yeah, sure thing, man. So, um, yeah, as time has gone on with the brand, I've really approached it from a concept that I didn't coin, or it was from a friend, called Lego block marketing. Is kind of a great way to think about how I've grown it. Where, first of all, it wasn't an overnight success. You know, in the first 12 months, nobody asked me to do any interviews ever. In the first 12 months, when I first started, no one would even get back to me to get people on the front covers of the magazine. If you look at the first issue of Foundr, it actually doesn't even have a famous person on the front cover. It's actually a stock image, bro. We got Richard Branson for issue number 8, and that was a big game changer. But even in the first 4 months of starting, I was sued for trademark infringement by one of the biggest business magazines in the States. I can't say what it was, but the magazine wasn't actually even called Foundr in the beginning. So I went through some hard times in the early days. Certainly didn't make much money as well in the early days, and it took me a good 12 months to actually build up the magazine subscription revenue, with full transparency, to, four grand monthly recurring revenue in about 12 months. And I could just kind of cover operating costs, just kind of pay myself in a ridiculously small wage. And with that, I could go off and go out, leave my day job because it was just a side hustle project. And that's the best
Mm-hmm.
way. I always, always, always recommend that's the best way to, if you're starting any kind of business, if you're just getting started, I always recommend to keep your day job. And just kind of, you need cash flow coming in. And so I bootstrapped, dude, just out of necessity, just out of just doing what felt right. Never thought about raising capital, always thought of it just as you want to start a business, you self-fund it, and you
Yep.
use the cash that you make to kind of, you use cash flow to operate it. You're in, the more money you make, the more kind of fuel you have for the business, and that's kind of how we've built it up. So, long story short, what happened was I left my day job and was just trying to work things out and trying to find my feet. And a couple of things happened. One, I started the podcast, which was in November 2014, where I started to repurpose a lot of these awesome interviews that we were doing for the magazine and putting them in the podcast. And with time, that really took off. And then also another thing happened where I found Instagram, and Instagram absolutely changed the game for us. Still is a very, very powerful platform for us to this day. So a combination of the podcast and Instagram really, really took off for us. We got very, very good at lead generation. We've got an email database of over 300,000, which we've built up in about 2 years. We've only been on
Amazing.
Instagram for 2 years. Some other things happened where we got really, really good at producing great content, man. If it's not on our podcast, if it's not in our magazine, if it's not on our blog, if it's not one of our ebooks or free guides, we pride ourselves on producing really, really great content. And then, another thing happened was we started to build some momentum, and it started to kick in across all these different things we're doing. And,
Mm-hmm.
I think probably the Instagram piece was kind of the fuel to the fire where, we have one of the largest Instagram business related accounts, and it just really, really took things off. And we started to get a lot of subscribers to the magazine. But then another thing happened, dude, where it was a combination of using these tactics, using social media to blow up the magazine, but then also having a great brand and really focusing on the brand, really focusing on the content. Our core business is content. So we had to get really, really good. And with full transparency, not always our content's the best out there, but we produce enough really, really solid content that if people are exposed to the brand, they'll get ridiculous amounts of value. And then also what happened was we started to get interviews with all these next level kind of people where, it wasn't just the Richard Bransons of the world. We got interviews and had them on the front covers of our magazine and also the podcast, the Tim Ferrisses, the Seth Godins, the Tony Robbins, the Guy Kawasaki's, the Ariana Huffingtons, the Barbara Corcorans, the Damon Johns, the Mark Cubans, the list kind of goes on. And across all those three elements, which I believe now is the kind of secret sauce to building a good brand founder style, great brand with, great design, great product, which for us is great content. And then also having ambassadors for your brand and using them as leverage to build influence, and then building great products. You kind of have a winning formula there. So that's how we kind of built momentum, encapsulating all of those kinds of things. And then, still to this day, we're kind of just building off the back of that momentum, bro. We turn over multiple seven figures in revenue. We're extremely profitable. Our next target in terms of revenue and turnover is 5 million for
Nice.
the annual turnover. And kind of, we're really scaling things up. Now we're much more than a magazine. Our content is consumed by millions of people on a monthly basis, and what really excites me is really growing out our website traffic into the
Mhm.
millions. It's so far in the hundreds of thousands still, and then also building out a course platform because we've had a lot of success with education, but we want to do it in a different way where we can do curated courses like masterclass.com, but all around entrepreneurship and startup related content. We survey our audience; they tell us what they want, but we don't teach it. I taught this Instagram course, which does quite well, but at the same time, we just launched a new course with an
E-commerce,
instructor,
right?
an external instructor that's an expert, and we plan to roll out 30 courses at a really really high production value caliber in the next year and a half. So we actually have a game plan and all sorts of things there. So we look to build a course platform, which is really, really exciting. So, all of those things start to build that momentum, and we'll keep building momentum by doing those kinds of things. And I've got all sorts of other crazy strategies to I guess, do that pattern interrupt stuff to get that cut through. And yeah, that's kind of us, man.
That's fantastic. That's absolutely incredible. And I have to ask because you got Richard Branson in episode 8, but what do you think the key things have been to kind of see obviously the momentum and the growth and stuff like that, but how did you break through to get some of these amazing people in? Like, is it about leverage from the brand? Is it about kind of what you're offering back to those influencers? How are you really working to get such amazing people in the brand?
It's a combination of things, dude. It's with the issue number 8, I pitched Richard Branson when it was 4 months in. I just got sued for trademark infringement, so we had no momentum back then. But
Mhm.
it was one, the power of having a magazine. Having a magazine is incredibly powerful for influence, bro. So we're
Right.
actually going to start printing the magazine now too, not on subscription, but bespoke. So, like for example, we'll print like 5,000 copies or 10,000 copies of the Branson issue and do free plus shipping offers and really cool stuff like that. I didn't know that was really powerful at the time though, but now I do. And yeah, so it's
Mhm.
so the first one was Richard Branson. That was kind of our big break, you could say, man. And from that, I use that as leverage, dude. So we really play on the fact that we have all these really crazy rock stars in our niche or in the entrepreneurship niche or startup niche. Or the market that we serve, these influencers, and we use them. We use those covers. We use those a lot in branding, and with the Branson one, that was just a big break where I made a lot of phone calls, and I crazy enough, Richard Branson's been on the front cover of every single business magazine. I thought to myself, well, why couldn't he be on the front cover of Foundr? So I just kind of went with that mindset and pitched,
I
and
love it. I
and
love it.
yeah, that was kind of the big break, dude. And then from there, we just kind of built on top of that, and it's always a mutually beneficial exchange in value as well. Like, Richard Branson, we played on the fact that his first business venture was a magazine, but then after that, all these other rock stars or influencers, we've used the magazine as leverage. We've used our audience size as leverage,
Mhm.
but also these people are looking for press. You got to be smart about it, dude. You've got to pick your battles at the right time. Like, for example, on Friday, I'm going to interview Kevin Kelly, who's the founder of Wired Magazine. Um, a couple of months ago, I spoke to Mark Cuban, who's going to be on the December cover. A couple of months before that, who's going to be on the July cover, Sophia Amoruso, because she had a new company that she launched. So, yeah, you got to Tim Ferriss. That was when he launched his new TV show. So, and then we were supposed to do another one when he launched his new book. Tony Robbins for our 50th issue. That was when he launched his new book. So you've got to pick your battles. It's when people are looking for press as well. We can't just really knock on anyone's door. Sometimes we can and interview them, but still we get a lot of no's, right? Like Elon Musk said no.
Yeah.
The founder of Twitter said no, Jack Dorsey. And we just kind of keep pitching, dude, extremely persistent. And I can't. I actually won't be able to do the interviews forever as well. I'm coming up with a kind of an exit strategy there, where we're actually going to get a hot shot journalist to start doing the interviews going forward, and actually
Amazing.
do them all over video, man. Because I'm in Australia, obviously, and want to set up an office in the States. And yeah, so that's a whole nother beast of a project. But yeah.
That's amazing. And Dougie, no, this is all live right now, Dougie. But yeah, that's fantastic. And that makes so much sense. I think persistence is key there, and I mean, you have to expect that you're going to get no's across the board. But it sounds like you guys have a really kind of winning formula there, and I think it's really true about the leverage around press, and you guys have done such a good job. You've done a good job of creating like a digital and obviously with a physical magazine coming out, you're going to kind of blend both those worlds. And I think Instagram, oh man, you guys have just done an amazing job on Instagram creating a following, and that I think just gives you guys an insane amount of added leverage to everything that you do. And you guys have just done a fantastic job across the board. I want to just quickly pause. And you have a brand new ecom course out that I saw with one of your new experts. So I saw that's coming out. I saw you guys rolling that out, and it looks phenomenal. I haven't checked out the program, but I saw the video. You guys did a video trail, and I was like, oh, this is great. You guys did great marketing around it. But I want to pause for a second. I want to ask the audience, everyone that's on today, while we have Nathan here, I just want to pause and see if anyone has any specific questions for him around, what he's done as far as building this online empire. Basically, I think of it, Nathan, as an empire just because of the audience size you've created, just the branding and the power that you put behind it. I just love hearing the stories of, you kind of went through the hard times at the beginning, and you grinded through it, and you did everything you could to kind of keep the brand going. And through all that adversity, you still churned out something so great. And you didn't have the background, you didn't have the silver spoon. You just pushed through it. And I think it's so fantastic. But guys, do you have any specific questions about strategies, the magazine, guests? I would love to hear, from you guys in the audience. And I guess while we wait for that, Nathan, my question to you, kind of looking back now, what would you say one of the biggest, lessons or life lessons, not even just business lessons, but life lessons that you've gained from this journey itself? Tough.
Yeah, look, first of all, thanks for the kind words, Dave. Yeah, look, I really appreciate the kind words, man. We really are doing our best. We're really building a really beast team at Foundr as well. I can't take all the credit. I know you know some of the guys in the team, but yeah, one thing I will tell you first of all, man, off topic is it isn't always easy, dude. Even when your business is turning over, millions of dollars, it isn't always easy still, man. Like, well, I reckon actually, you know what's crazy? I actually think that it's harder to, I reckon it's easier to start a business versus growing it. And I reckon it's harder to scale a business than get the early traction that I got. Because when I was starting Foundr, it was all off my own bat, right? But now when we're looking to scale, like I said, our next target is 5 million in annual revenue. You scale through people, man.
Yeah.
And that is actually incredible, a new challenge that we face at Foundr. Now, we have an amazing team, but how do you get that team aligned? How do you get the right people on the bus? Especially in a place like Melbourne, where we do have a startup scene, but nowhere near as big as the States. Very, very difficult, dude. So I will preface, because you are very kind and you're making me sound really, really boss, dude. But I'm still learning, man, and I still got a lot to learn, bro. So I will share that. We have had a lot of wins at Foundr, but we have had a lot of losses as well along the way, and I just wanted to share that. In regards to biggest lessons along the way, I think probably the best one I have for you is if you want to scale your company, you want to start your company, you want to get your first 100 customers, you want to crush any niche, you want to crush any social media platform, you want to crush any kind of marketing strategy, or you want to build your email list fast, any of these things. The best way to do it, the fastest way to do it, is to find smart people that have done it and learn from them. Jump on Clarity, join mastermind groups, get mentors, get business coaches, make friends with people that are doing something really, really, that are a master at X kind of topic or whatever topic. and that's how you get results fast, because we don't if you're just starting out, or you haven't been building a business for 10 years or 20 years or whatever, you have to go through that rite of passage, man, where you kind of have to work it out yourself. And one of the fastest ways to learn, I believe, is to learn from others, not learn from your own mistakes. Warren Buffett has a great quote where he says something around the lines of, it's much more expensive to learn from your own mistakes versus learning from others. So that's something that I obsess over, to be honest, dude. Like, if you want to get good at webinars, you need to find someone that's really, really good at webinars. If that's a big part of, how to generate sales. If you want to get really good at lead generation, you need to find someone that's really, really good at lead generation. If you want to find someone that's really, really good at building a SaaS product, you need to find someone that's built a really, really successful SaaS product, because they will see the same commonalities, the same things that you've been through. So that's something that I highly recommend. I have many different mentors and coaches, and part of mastermind groups as well, and many different really successful founders that I'm friends with that really help me, and that's really helping accelerate things, which I think is key, and probably one of my greatest lessons that I've learned thus far on the journey, man.
That is absolutely fantastic, fantastic advice. And I have a piece of paper that says something like a quote on my wall that I keep up that says something very similar. And, it's really a true shortcut to success. And I think it's just such valuable advice. So everyone on this call definitely, or anyone listening, definitely make sure you write that down. Dougie, a SaaS product is a service as a software. You're looking at one right now. Demio is a SaaS product, software as a service. Nathan, Karen asks, do you charge for your magazine, or do you use it as a lead generator and sell advertising on that too?
Yeah, great question. So we charge for the magazine. We charge $2.99 a month or $21.99 a year, and that part of the business does over six figures in annual recurring revenue. So multiple six figures of annual recurring revenue. So that part of the business is really, really strong. I'm very big on recurring revenue because it allows you to lower risk. We don't really sell advertising at all. We have around 20,000 monthly readers of the magazine, and we haven't really ever bothered with ads. Where we make most of our money is through the magazine subscriptions. Obviously, we've launched this book, which is doing quite well as well. We're going to start printing the magazine as well, which I know will do well. We've got a membership site, and then we've got educational courses, and kind of a suite of digital products, and now physical products as well. So that's kind of how we make our money. We make a little bit of money on advertising. There's some a little like kind of hidden affiliate things that we do where we make a bit of money off affiliates. In a very, very light way. We don't do any kind of webinars with SaaS products or anything of the sort, but we do lightly recommend some tools here and there that does quite well for us as well. So that's kind of how we make money.
Fantastic. Do you have any other questions there, Karen? I think we answered another question while you answered that one. Nathan was awesome.
Awesome. You want me to keep going through the questions, bro?
Well, there's only, I think we answered one. Another one here is membership sites. Do you have any advice in getting started with membership sites, since you guys are kind of working on building out those members areas?
Yeah, so membership site's been an interesting one. So we've got a product called Foundr Club. That's been an interesting one. Look, with full transparency, out of all of our products and the things we do, that's probably the thing that we don't do the best. I think we could do a much better job. Everything else I'm really, really proud of. I've actually just hired someone here for the Melbourne office to really focus on growing that product and take ownership of it. I made some rookie mistakes around structuring the team. A great lesson I've learned now is if you when you're building out a team, you either go all local or all remote. And I did a hybrid where I had some key team members that were remote, and it didn't really work out. And we had some key team members that were local. So knowing what I know now, it's all going to be local here in Melbourne. Now we've got 6 of us here in Melbourne, and that team's only going to grow and build that out. And then we do have people virtually in a hybrid way, but it's for like very refined roles like editing or manage editing or writing or design. Like it's yeah, it's a little different. So to answer your question around membership sites, we're doing okay. Not as good a job as I wish we were doing, but that will change. Um, Advice for getting started, I think you have to have an audience, because if you don't have an audience and you launch a membership site, a big part of it is focused around community. Now, as we build out our course platform, once by the end of next year, once we have at least 30 courses, we'll be able to turn that into a subscription-based package as well and bundle it in with Foundr Club. So Foundr Club and that course package subscription will be one in the same. It'll be probably Foundr Premium, and we'll actually really only focus on growing Foundr Premium. And so that's kind of where we're going. But I think advice for you, Elizabeth, is when you want to launch a membership site, start with building an audience first. A great way to do that is with a free Facebook group, and kind of work out what that audience wants. And you've kind of got to work out whether you're giving content as kind of the exclusive piece and the community, or just content, or both. We've found that people that are part of our membership site love the community aspect the most. So you've kind of, I think, at some stage got to have an event and all that kind of stuff. So kind of that's my thoughts. But yeah, start with a Facebook group and get started, and then, use a tool like, for us, you can use like BuddyPress to launch your site, and just set up a paywall, and yeah, just make sure that you don't launch to crickets and you have a decent sized audience beforehand, because otherwise it's difficult.
You absolutely went so in depth on that question. So thank you so much. I was going to ask you, what's the best way to get started building that audience? Because that's such a key aspect that I think people miss, is building an audience prior to launching products, and they struggle so much with that. So, thank you for answering that question. I think that's fantastic. When you're adding in something like, so you have your Facebook group and you're building this community, what would you say, like outside of it, how are you kind of attracting people in there? What would you be doing to attract people into the group just outside of that, like kind of make noise and, like you said before, cut through the marketplace with so many groups out there?
Yeah, so with full transparency, man, we don't even have like a free Facebook group ourselves. That's something that's going to change. We actually are going to roll out one, because I think it's a great low touch point to launch. And so I'm not, when I say I think you should launch a Facebook group, I'm not talking from my experience. I've seen from the experience of seeing others with membership sites, how they launch them off the bat. I think it's really, really powerful. So I'll tell you how we plan on growing our free Facebook group, which we will launch in probably a couple of months. This new person that started, that's running Foundr Club, I'm going to get her up to speed with that, and we're going to grow that product out. But, part of the strategy will be actually launching a free Facebook group. So the best way to grow a Facebook group, and this is what our strategy is going to be, is with Facebook now, you can connect it to your Facebook page. So anybody that follows your Facebook page, they can see that you have a group. It's like a public group. So we're creating a public group for anyone that follows the Foundr brand and community. I was really inspired by how ClickFunnels have drove and grown their tribe through that Facebook group, and made it a really low touch point. Yeah, really made a really low touch point, because people get offended if you send them too many emails, right? And that's kind of our biggest touch point with our community. And we have a large following all over social, and we have a reasonably large following across all of our other channels as well, across the podcast, across the blog. But how do you interact besides email? And how do you connect everyone besides email? Well, you can't, so having a free Facebook group, I think, is just a great low touch point way, which is, everybody seems to be on Facebook. It's an invasive way that people would not be, offended if you posted there every day, as if you were to email every day when you launched a new blog post, or got a new product, or you're looking to hire. Like I just reckon it's genius. So I wish, that's actually been one of my biggest mistakes, Dave. One of my friends, Daniel from Rich 20 something, him, I remember I jumped on a call literally, man, probably about 2 years ago. So we were crushing it with Instagram. We're crushing it building our email list. We're doing really well. And yeah, I remember I jumped on a call with Daniel and Jill from Screw the 9 to 5. And she was like, yeah, Nathan, you got to launch a Facebook group. It's key. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't really want to do it. It's another thing I have to worry about, and we have to maintain it and monitor it and all this stuff. And here's the thing, right? In a roundabout way, I know I ramble on a bit, but here's the thing. With Facebook now, what you can do is you can connect it to your Facebook page. So if you start to build out your Facebook page, you'll organically get people that'll find your group from your Facebook page. We haven't even promoted ours, and we've got hundreds of people, trying to join right now. And part of the join process, you can get people to answer questions. So we get people to answer 2 questions. What's your favorite piece of content from Foundr Magazine? And what's been your biggest learning from following the brand? And if no one answers that question, we're not going to accept them. So that's how we're going to heavily curate and build it pretty fast into the tens of thousands. We're going to email our database and ask people to join. But then the second biggest thing, which I think can be done for anyone if you don't have a reasonable size email list like we do, is when people opt in to any of your lead magnets, or when you're paying for traffic and you're getting people to sign up to your email list, what are you doing with that thank you page? That thank you page is one of the best assets that you have, and the best real estate of attention grabbing assets that you have. So invite people to join your free Facebook group on the thank you page. So for us, we get 300 to 400 email subscribers per day organically. This is not through paid acquisition. So pretty much, we can change our thank you page. Right now, it's a tripwire. If you go to foundrmag.com/thank you, that's a tripwire. We can change foundrmag.com/thank you to anything we want. And for a good couple of months or whatever, we will make that join our free Facebook group. And across doing that, I think that's a really good way to grow it. And that's how we're going to do it. And I have a goal of getting it into the tens of thousands pretty quickly. So because we do have, all these amazing people part of the community. They don't have to pay to join Foundr Club. They don't have to buy any of our products, which, has a Facebook group part of it. And, they can still follow the brand, and they don't have to pay anything. And it's just a great way to connect. And, eventually we want to do an event like, global, like an event where, it's probably in Melbourne, but anyone from around the world could come, FounderCon, because we are a global brand, and most of our customer base and audience is in the States, So I just think it's a really good way to do things.
I love it. And it's really just about community and engagement. A lot of it, from the questions to the actual Facebook group itself, it's about people being involved in the brand. And when you build that community, everything else seems to come so much easier, from launching products into a Facebook group. Like I literally saw this morning a friend of mine who has a 27,000 person group made like $180,000 in 1 month just pre-launching a product to his members, because that group was just so engaged and so excited to be a part of his following and stuff like that. So I think there's just so many. Go ahead.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Elizabeth said, what were those 2 questions you asked members for your Facebook group?
How did you find out about Foundr Magazine, and what's your favorite piece of content from Foundr Magazine? And if people like actually don't answer those questions properly, we won't accept them. That's going to be the rule. So we will heavily vet anyone that knows the brand, because I've found anyone that knows the brand is cool. Anyone that follows the brand, anyone that consumes our stuff, they're cool. They know what's going on. They're giving. They're just people we want to hang out with, because you got to be careful, man, with these Facebook groups. People strategically go on there, and it's so obvious what people do. Even in like that ClickFunnels group, like they write like an essay post, but it's not really from a place of giving because they're like, oh, say, comment yes, please, or leave an emoji if you want me
Oh,
to, private message you this thing, and they're just strategically going on there. So instead of writing a blog post now, they just write a long Facebook post, and like we don't want those kind of people, man. Like pretty much selling, bro. We don't want those kind of people.
yeah. Siphoning out your traffic basically and using a
Yep.
strategic method for themselves. And yeah, that's definitely one good point. And what the cool thing is you're going to do is you're just going to filter out people, like you said, that are cool people that like your brand, that want to follow you, that want to be involved. And, I always like to say about email lists and about communities in general, the number itself can be pretty inflated. It can be a pretty, fake. It can be a fake number. It's like an inflated number. If you say you have 10,000 people on your email list, but only 1,000 people open and 10 people talk to you, like the other 9,000 people could just be, a waste of money that you're using to email to, right? So that community is the same type of numbers. But guys, I do want to. Oh, go ahead, please.
I was gonna say I agree, man. I agree.
Yeah. But I just want to thank you for providing so much insane value today. I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you're so busy with a lot of things going on, but I just want to take a moment and just thank you again for coming on this show. You've provided such an insane amount of value. For myself, I've been taking notes here, and I know the audience is loving this as well. So, I just want to thank you so much for coming on. You and your entire team, you guys do such an amazing job, and I want to recognize them as well. You guys have done a fantastic job. Please keep working hard. We did donate for this show for you coming on to Charity Water, which was your charity of choice this week. So it looks like we're due another $85 today to Charity Water. So I just want to thank you for that and picking that charity. It's a great cause. So what I also want to do is can you remind me, is the book out now for pricing, or is it still just ending on the crowdfunding?
Yeah, so we're literally end of next week. You'll be able to grab a copy of the book. If you go to foundrmag, foundrmag.com/book, you'll be able to go on the wait list and grab a copy, and we'll be able to sell to the public. Or you can do foundr.com/book. I think that will work too.
It's an amazing book. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one winner from today's call, and we'll buy the book and ship it out to you, and we'll email you after this call. So we'll hook you guys up with one of those Foundr books, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and you guys will really, really love it. So that'll kind of be a great little gift that we can offer to someone today. So I want to thank all of you guys also for coming on the call. Always appreciate you guys taking some time out of your day to join us on these Demio Discover calls. Nathan, any last piece of advice that you would give for people before we head off today?
I think just kind of in terms of advice, just around what you do, man. If you have a SaaS product, you do consulting, or you sell digital products, even if they're over, $50, you got to be doing webinars. They are seriously game changing. We make a lot of money from webinars. So anyone that's listening to this right now, I guess if you're not using the Demio platform or any platform in general to do webinars, that's where it's at. It's just insane how strong webinars are. We're going to have, we're going to do some crazy things with webinars, really, really powerful. So something to think about, guys. I just wanted to share that because we're on your platform, and yeah, I'm really impressed, man. Looks like a really cool platform, bro. I don't know if I said we can probably never move over, man, because we're kind of locked in with GoToWebinar, and it's connected hardcore to our Infusionsoft and plus this and all these other systems. But yeah, dude, webinars is where it's at, big time. So if anyone's listening to this, get on the webinars. Use Dave's platform. Very, very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a one-to-many messaging that's personal and interactive. We're talking about Facebook groups and interaction and engagement. You won't find anything better than a webinar itself. So, I definitely recommend, if you guys aren't doing webinars yet, even if you're not in Demio, make sure you start doing them. 2017 is your year, guys. And do let us know if we can do anything else for you guys. As always, message us. And we wish you guys all the best. Nathan, I just want to thank you again. And thank you so much for taking some time out to spend with us today.
Hey, you're welcome, man. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great day. Ciao, bro.
You too. Bye, guys. Bye, Nathan.